Hey, what up, guys? I'm back with a film breakdown today. This is a special breakdown because what we're going to be looking at is how DeMarcus Lawrence was contained versus the Packers. As you know, he actually leads the league in sacks with 8.5. So somebody requested that I review what exactly the Packers did to hold him to no sacks and essentially no effect on the game. But before we get into all that, I ask that you please click the link below and subscribe to my channel so you can get up-to-date notifications of whenever I drop these film breakdowns. And also follow me on Instagram at Casey Bethea. I'll leave the link in the description box. And let's get right into it. So when you're going against someone like DeMarcus Lawrence that leads the league in sacks, or going against a J.J. Watt, a Von Miller, Khalil Mack, what's the best way to minimize their impact? Run away from them. That's exactly what the Packers did, and what you see with these groups of plays. Aaron Jones is the ball carrier, and they run the toss completely opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence. And this is something that they did pretty much the whole game that I noticed. They ran away from him. They threw screens away from him. Literally anything to just completely go against him. They didn't want any problems with him. You see there, they throw the bubble screen and just a series of quick passes to get the ball out. They didn't really give him a chance to get to Aaron Rodgers, honestly. It's not that he had a bad game personally. It's just the game plan was so well built that they didn't have a chance to even let him impact the game barely at all. Brian Beluga is the Green Bay's right tackle, and this guy started almost every single game that he's played in the league, and he does a great job versus DeMarcus Lawrence. He didn't give up any sacks, like I said earlier, but just as far as his technique, he was really patient with DeMarcus Lawrence. He didn't fall for any of the swim moves, and he didn't reach at all. He let DeMarcus come to him, and he used his length to stay in DeMarcus Lawrence's chest. You see here, they throw a quick pass to the outside, but they actually double team DeMarcus Lawrence. They keep Martellus Bennett in, and this is what they did throughout the game. They used an extra offensive lineman or sometimes a running back to help chip him. In this play, this is a cool thing, and I think they did what they actually did. They blocked down as if it were a stretch, and they followed that through with the play action, and DeMarcus Lawrence actually fell all the way for that. So with the exceptional play of the blockers, they actually came up with a really creative game plan to help neutralize him. Like I said, he leads the league in sacks, so you don't want him hitting Aaron Rodgers the entire game. But since he's so good, you see that he's still able to generate pressure. And there's a lot of plays in this game that he had pressure, he pushed the pocket back, he forced sacks. It just wasn't him getting credit for the sacks. So just because he didn't have any sacks doesn't mean he had no effect. It was just not noted on the stat sheet. You see here DeMarcus Lawrence is lined up over the right tackle, and he has a lot of different techniques and pass rush moves that he can perform. He has a speed rush here where he uses his hands violently and gets a nice little rush on the outside of 75, and he almost comes down with the sack, but he still got pressure and got to Aaron Rodgers. Again, Mike McCarthy and the Packers offensive coordinators, they really understood what they needed to do to neutralize him. You see here, they throw a quick screen, and like I was saying earlier, DeMarcus Lawrence just had no opportunity to get to the quarterback. I mean, the ball's out within 1 second of them snapping the ball, so there's no defensive lineman in the world that'll make a sack because there's just not enough time for it. I like this play because the Packers faked the off tackle to Aaron Jones, and he actually chips DeMarcus Lawrence and makes sure that he doesn't get any hands on Aaron Rodgers, and it's still a built-in quick pass across the middle. But here's what I mean when I say that Brian Beluga had a great game. You see here, he's lined up one-on-one with him and still blocks him for just enough time for Aaron Rodgers to get it off. He knows that Aaron Rodgers has a quick clock in his head, and he's going to throw the ball within 3 seconds of snapping it, but he still is able to hold his own out there against, obviously, one of the best pass rushers in this league. And Aaron Rodgers helps avoid DeMarcus Lawrence as well. You see here, DeMarcus Lawrence tries a spin move. Brian Beluga is there for it, but Aaron Rodgers rolls to the opposite side, and there's no way in hell that DeMarcus Lawrence is going to chase him down from the backside. Brian Beluga does a great job meeting him at the point of attack on the outside and stabilizing him out there. Another reason they were successful blocking him is that they knew which matchups that they liked. They put Martellus Bennett on him instead of Lance Kendricks or Richard Rodgers, the better run blocker tight end. They put on him, and you see that he's able to pancake him there and get him out of the play. Like I mentioned earlier, even though he didn't have any sacks, he still had an effect on the game. He was actually double teamed on this play and still able to get the ankle of Aaron Jones, and it was only a matter of time before he got his pass rush going. This is the final drive of the game, and he's able to get Aaron Rodgers. He almost gets him for the sack, but Aaron Rodgers somehow gets the ball out. Brian Beluga does a pretty good job on the first attempt, but when Aaron Rodgers is back there scrambling for 5 to 10 seconds, there's no way in hell that he's going to be able to keep up with him this time. This is why sometimes blocking for somebody like Aaron Rodgers can be a negative. You got to hold your block for so long that you see Brian Beluga there. I mean, he's blocking for almost 8 seconds and he still gets hands to DeMarcus Lawrence's face and still can't even block him. I thought to include this play because it seems that DeMarcus Lawrence got frustrated at this point and that he's so sold on getting to the pass rusher that he doesn't even play the run, and he just completely takes himself out of the play right there and makes Martellus Bennett's job extremely easy. He opens up the lane for Aaron Jones to get that touchdown there. And it's a similar thing that you see here with him at the top of the screen. He opens up a lane for Aaron Jones again in the final drive of the game, and it looks like he's just so bent on getting to Aaron Rodgers due to no sacks and hardly any pressures that he just completely is undisciplined and gives up this lane. And this next play is similar to what I mentioned earlier, where the offensive line will down block as if it were a stretch and throw in the play action, and it looks exactly like a run except the receivers run route. And this is another way to neutralize him. Instead of having him out on the edge, just draw him towards the middle, and then that opens up the full lane to throw the ball, as you see here where Aaron Rodgers hits Jordy Nelson over the middle. So these are some of the ways that Brian Beluga and the Packers offensive coordinators were able to help neutralize DeMarcus Lawrence. They threw in some play actions, and they'd use an extra blocker such as Martellus Bennett or Aaron Jones, or they would just avoid him completely and go all the way to the opposite side. So this is how the Packers made DeMarcus Lawrence seem so ineffective. Let me know what you guys think of this down below. Be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Casey Bethia. Be on the lookout for my podcast, and I appreciate you for listening.